Right. Okay, we are ready.
So the sooner the better. You ready?
Well, I'm gonna keep Josh around.
Wait, but how long will it take?
You guys, please mute yourself out unless you're talking to me.
Give me 10 minutes and I'll.
And what?
Jason, Jason, mute yourself out, bud.
I don't know. Make sure you're good. Oh,
Hold on a second, guys. Some people aren't listening. If you're talking, mute yourself out, please. Unless you're talking to me. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Some interesting discoveries here when I look at the charts. I'm going to share and show you what I found. Which could tell us something important. All right, let's go. All right, guys, this is the Bitcoin gold chart, the crypto market cap, crypto versus gold on the 2-week time frame. Everybody see this okay? What this is showing us is that if we go back all the way to 2014, this is the only time we were below this line. And this is when we had, this is where we ran up in a big bull market here from, you know, this is way back in 2015 going into 2017. We hit resistance here and we broke through and held a support. 2017 bull market run up to the top of 2017. We came down and had a bear market bottom here in 2018 and 19 going into 2019. We had a little bit of a pump and then we dumped back down in 2020. This is basically the COVID, going into COVID crisis right here. We dipped down a little bit below this line, came back up. This is also, by the way, this is, yeah, that was 2020. So then we come up and we hit the bull market top here in 2021, double top here, and we drop all the way down to 17K right here in 2022. And this is where we kind of double bottom right down here at 15.5, bear market bottom. And then we climb up. We hit 73K right here. We go up a little higher, double top, come back down, bounce again, April, May of 2025, and had another all-time high. Now, this is not Bitcoin price. This is just the Bitcoin versus gold. So you might be wondering, why is this lower than this if this was the high right here? But let's just look at this compared to gold, because this is kind of telling. So if we look at the RSI down here, whenever we came down to this line, as you can see, right here's the 38 on the RSI, the 38. The dotted line down here is the 30. The top dotted line is 70. Right here's the 38. And as soon as we hit that line, that's when we were breaking right here. Let me just show you right here where this bottom was, is when we were bouncing off this line. And then when we come back to the line and dip through it a little bit, bounce on it, this is when we were hitting the line here. Then we come down and we wick through the line a little bit right here. And this is where we wicked down and basically hit this line again, right there. Right here, we come down and we hit 17K. This is when we went through the line, but that wasn't the bear market bottom. That was 17K right here. We broke out of the downward trending falling wedge on the RSI right here. And that is when we broke out and then retested at 15.5. But as you can see here, when we came back up to that line, went through it, we fell down again. So it was kind of like a double bottom right here at 15.5, but we held on this white line. And then we climb up to all-time highs in crypto. And then as you can see, we fall back down to the line, but this time we went through. But down here, we are kind of right at the bottom of the times that we fell through before, which is basically here. We are right there. As you can see, the price went a little lower after this, even though we started to climb out. This is when technically it was the bottom. And in our group, those of you who've been around long enough, remember, we were calling the bottom at 17K, even though it did go down to 15.5. And mainly that was based on the RSI, but not this one. This is versus gold. But the interesting thing here is that gold had its rally, just so far for the last 8 years, going all the way back to right here in 2017, we've been above this line. And every time we got to it or even dipped below it, it was the bottom of the market and we pumped up to a new high. Interestingly enough. So here we are. We are dipping below it. This does look different than this one or this one, but this one we went through, I don't know, we went through quite a bit down to about here, almost even basically double bottoming on that one. And so what am I saying here? Well, I don't know, other than we are historically on this chart, this was the bottom. So can this time be different? Of course, we talked about that before, but this is interesting because if this is the bottom, I mean, could we go lower in price? Yeah, we could. But even if we went down to 75, 80,000 on Bitcoin, generally speaking, we could be near the bottom. Now, here's what's interesting is that on the stochastic RSI, we have a blue line crossing the orange line to the upside at the very bottom. The bottom that's been the bottom going all the way back for as long as, as long as Bitcoin existed. Look at this. Whenever we hit this down here and the blue line crosses the orange line to the upside, let's just look at the dotted line going straight up. That's usually been the bottom. When we hit this right here and the blue line crosses the orange line to the upside, it was a big pump back up. And so that's happened a couple times or a few times over the last 8 years or so. But here we are now. We broke through this line. And it is looking like it's dropping further than it has previously. But when you look at the RSI and the stochastic RSI, it's the bottom. The only time on the RSI that we broke this line at the 38, there's a couple times when it happened. Let's look at it right here. We went through it a little bit. Came back above, but we didn't even break this white line. Here we broke the white line, didn't even touch this white line. Here we broke through this white line and wicked all the way down to here. And we stayed above that white line. And even when we came up, this is when we doubled bottom. Right here was the low, 15,500 for Bitcoin. That was the low of the bear market last time, even though on the RSI we got a little lower. So here we are now. We just bounced on this white line and looks like we might even dipped a little bit below it. But on the stochastic RSI, the blue line is crossing back over the orange line to the upside right now as we speak. So am I saying this is the bottom now just because of this? No, but all of these indicators tell something, tell a story, right? Especially when you look back at history. So what could be, because we are going into a new year, tomorrow, we have the Clarity Act. We have all kinds of changes. We have the financial institutions possibly switching over to, the digital currency reserve. All of this stuff is happening. This just could be the big fall before the big pump. If that happens, then this time would be different. Normally, we would go into a 1 year long bear market after a bull market top, and which would bring us till about September of this year of just slowly grinding down, because that's what happened here. It took a whole year to get down to 15.5 from 68K. That and then by the way, if we fell that far, percentage wise, 76%, that would be equal to us falling down to about 35, 40, 30K, 30 to 40K in Bitcoin price. But with all of these 70% drops from the top, none of them went lower than this on the RSI and the stochastic RSI. So we are at the bottom of both the regular RSI and the stochastic RSI, and the blue line is crossing over. So is it possible that this is near the bottom now? And the answer is yes, because this time could be different. If this time isn't different, then, you know, we could be going into a crypto winter, so to speak, as they would say, where it's just, you know, stock market crash, economic calamity, all this kind of stuff. Does anybody see that happening in this group? Does anybody think that, you know, everything's falling apart and everything's getting worse? Or do you think that with all the changes taking place, that things are getting better? And before we answer that question, has anything ever got better before it got worse?
Hey, Miko, it's Marcus. I honestly think that things are looking brighter than they ever have. So, I mean, could there always be a calamity? I mean, yes, stuff always can happen, but everything that I've seen everything's going in the right direction. We couldn't have a brighter future for 2026. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that all the things that are changing are for the better. Sometimes, unfortunately, though, is that you got to, you know, if you're building a new house, or if you're going to renovate your house, it's ultimately going to be better when it's done, but you got to create a construction site first. You got to tear some stuff apart first. And that's kind of what we're doing. That's kind of what Trump's been doing. I mean, he's removing the US from the World Economic Forum. He's getting out of all these different, you know, bad decisions that previous administrations have put us in over the years. And all of that looks bad on the surface to some people. All of it looks like chaos. But I think the ultimate outcome will be a better situation. Will it be sooner rather than later? That's the question. And it
can always get messy beforehand, for sure.
Yeah, it gets messy sometimes beforehand. And, you know, we've seen that already. I mean, we've seen a slow ending of 2025 crypto price wise. You know, a lot of people were expecting, well, if you go historically and look at December in every bull market, December usually had huge pumps, 40% pumps to the upside. In November going into December, right here, November going into December was huge pump. November going into December, huge pump to the upside in the bull markets. But we didn't have that yet. I mean, we only have hours left now, right? And I've been telling you guys for a while that if we don't do that, you know, before the end of the year, because if we look at the monthly, if we go to the monthly on the Bitcoin chart, by the way, that is crypto, that is BTC gold on the crypto cap.
Nico, can I ask you one question on that chart you have there? Was that RSI Bitcoin, or is that the RSI with the comparison of the two? That's what I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's the Bitcoin gold chart on the 2-week time frame.
Right, but the RSI at the bottom that you got there, that is showing, that's the RSI on that chart, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah. If you just switch back to Bitcoin, there's that same line. So we didn't cross it yet. On gold, we crossed it. But And on just Bitcoin, the RSI and the stochastic RSI, both very similar. The stochastic RSI is crossing the orange line to the upside, and the regular RSI is coming down to this line that we were just talking about. But it's
Do you
not
think
quite
that-
there yet. Whereas on the gold one, it went below it a little bit.
Do you think that the big variance of the chart is because gold is pumped up so high? I mean, that hasn't happened. We haven't had a big gold pump in decades. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so gold and Bitcoin never, it usually didn't correlate. Previously, when gold pumped and Bitcoin kind of just didn't do anything. And now, I mean, it seems more like they, I'm sorry, before they correlated, whereas now they're not correlating. So gold pumped without Bitcoin this time in this market.
Right.
Back here, gold pumped. I can't remember what it was, but it was a lot lower, but it still had a pump during that bull market cycle because people were moving their capital into alternative assets because of some crisis back then. Well, it was in 2000. What time was that? That was the I can't remember exactly what was going on back then, but there was a reason for both pumps. There was a scarcity in the market, but that happens every once in a while, and the stock market crashes accordingly. I can't remember what month it was off the top of my head, but I was telling you that the stock market was going to crash 30% or so, and it did, like the next day, it seemed like. And that was when the S&P was hitting an all-time high, like 6,300. So it's kind of like it's usually the opposite of when everybody expects it to. And no one would, what do you mean it's going to crash? I mean, it's never been better. And then all of a sudden, boom, it drops 30%. And that could happen in reverse too. What do you mean? What do you mean we're going to have a big pump? I mean, this is a bear market. It's going down. And that's all of a sudden when it pumps. Now, the difference here, and this goes against what I would normally say, is because normally I would look at the charts and say, kind of bear market, guys. I mean, we didn't make a higher high. The 12-month chart ends at midnight tonight. Let's just go to the 12-month. Look at, we got 6 hours and 40 minutes left. And 28 seconds. Not even midnight. What time is that?
well, 6 hours would be well, I'm in Chicago time, so we're talking that'd be 5 o'clock this afternoon.
It's it's midnight UTC time. So it's like a 5.5 hour difference or something. But either way, when this candle ends, historically, whatever the top of this candle was the top. That's this one, that's this one, and that's this one. Every 4 years. The difference is this one was green when it ended. This one was green when it ended. This one was green when it ended. And this one's red. So that means this time is different. Unless we get a big pump up to 94K, because we got to get above this line right here. We would have to get above that line in the next 6 hours for this candle to turn green again. And that would be 94K. Everything's possible. What would it take for Bitcoin to pump to 94K in the next 6 hours? When the next candle starts, however, on January 1st, it could go up instead of down. Yes. Historically, and I know I've gone over this a few times, that's this candle right here. As you can see, there is a candle. I mean, there's a wick above that where it went up first before it came back down. Here's this candle in 2018. You can see the wick went up to, went from here to there. You can see that wick. And then here, when this candle started, the price went up, but it didn't go higher than the previous one. It didn't go higher than the previous one. It didn't go higher than the previous one. So if the next candle starts here, it could go up, and Bitcoin could go up to 101, 105, 115. But historically, it has never gone up higher than this previous one.
Could it be
If everything stays the same.
Right. We've talked about that, obviously things are different. Are
Hey, Marcus,
significantly-
can you check your microphone? You're very faint. It's hard to hear you.
Oh, sorry. Is that any better?
Much better.
Okay. So with everything, I mean, obviously we know that there are significant differences right now. Could this be a winding up where we're, that's why this last candle is red and winding up for an explosion to go into that super cycle that a lot of us are thinking that could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a sign like if everything just looked the same a bull market over bull market, then this is the only reason why I'm a little hesitant to even say that this time is exactly the same or this time to not say this time is different because it very well could be different this time. And now I've been one of those guys that's, no matter what people say, I would say everyone always says it's different and it's never different. Cycles are cycles. But one thing is for sure about this time is that mass adoption has never been more than this cycle. This cycle has mass adoption. We got the Fed chairman, we got the president of the United States. But Donald Trump's made a couple $1 billion in crypto since he's been a president. His family have a large centralized exchange now. They were debanked in the regular banking world and created their own crypto empire. Now we have the Clarity Act, we have the Genius Act, we have all these things going into place for crypto. The Clarity Act was pretty much kicked down the road because of the government shutdown. It was expected to have already been approved by the end of the year, but I guarantee that's going to be approved going into January. And so, yeah, a lot of crazy things can happen quickly when all of these mechanisms, levers get pulled. And that could definitely make this time different. And so I'm hesitant to say, sorry guys, this, a couple months ago I was saying, listen, if this candle doesn't open, if this candle opens and it's lower than, we don't go up and make a new high, then I'm calling this a bear market and we're going to go down. I was saying that a couple months ago, but because of all these other weird things that are happening and all these other indicators, I'm not so sure that I think that there could be a big surprise happening here that no one's expecting. Another crazy thing is the pi cycle. I mean, look at this. We're not even close. These two lines aren't even close to crossing. The pi cycle, it has been accurate, not 90% of the time, not 80% of the time, but 100% of the time, showing you where the top is. When these lines cross, that's the top. When these lines cross, that was the top. When this line crossed, that was the top. When these lines crossed, that was the top. When these lines crossed, that was the top. They're not even close right now. And we got 6 hours left. Usually they cross right at that time. So let's go look at the last bull market now. They crossed at 64K. And guess what we did? We came all the way down to 29K, 28.9, and then pumped all the way back up to 68K, which was technically higher, but this was called a double top. And that was the beginning of the bear market. And by the time we got up to 68K, that was like, when was that? I'm sorry, when they crossed, rather. It was earlier in the year calling the top, and we still came up back up after that. So 64.5 technically was the top, and that was just a double top. But like I said, we're not close, so it doesn't even matter. So to me, it could, and the fact that we are above this line on the regular Bitcoin chart, we could come down and touch it like we did here. We are kind of floundering right at this line. which is the floor, and then have another pump up, and then have a top. It just hasn't happened like in springtime before. So this time could be different.
Nico, can you explain what the pi indicator is based on?
That's a good question.
I just looked this up the other day. Nico, it's Kimmel.
Yeah, go ahead. I can hardly hear you.
I'm sorry. The pi cycle indicator is a crossing of two long time period averages, and the ratio of those two averages is approximately pi. Bill
Correct.
just put a explanation in the chat too.
Yeah, and here it is on the screen. Pi cycle top indicator has historically been effective in picking out the timing of market cycle highs to within 3 days. It uses the 111 day moving average, the 111 day moving average, DMA, and a newly created multiple of 350 day moving average. Note the multiple is of the price values of the 350 day moving average, not the number of days. So for the past 3 market cycles, when the 111 DMA moves up and crosses the 350 day moving average, we see that it coincides with the price of Bitcoin peaking. And so, which is very close to pi. There is a mathematical equation there. The closest we can get to pi when dividing 350 by another whole number. And that's why they call it the pi cycle. Top is useful to indicate when the market is very overheated. So overheated, that the shorter term moving average, which is 111 days, has reached a multiplier times 2 of the 350 day moving average. Historically, it has been proven advantageous to sell Bitcoin at this time in Bitcoin's price cycle. But this time, it has not come close to crossing yet. So that's telling. I don't know what it's telling, but it's telling something. And most people don't know to look at all these different possible indicators, because remember, I always say, like, when I make a decision, it's usually based on 5 different things, all the boxes checking off on like 5 different things that are important. But I can't check off all the boxes now for this top. I cannot say that we're at the top or we're on the way to the bottom of bear market, because 2 or 3 of the 5 boxes haven't checked off. It's kind of strange this time around. Now, if we look at, like, let's say, other things, we got the EMA ribbon. We definitely flipped that bearish. We are below it right now. If we look at the Gaussian channel, we are, let's go to the 5-day on that one. We are below that as well. That's bearish. But as you can see on the 5-day, the Gaussian channel still has not turned red. That usually is an indication of a bear market. It's one thing to get below or dip below the Gaussian channel, but until this turns red on the 5-day, that's generally an indication of a bear market, and we drop a lot lower. As of right now, we're retesting underneath it, but we haven't dropped lower. Back here, we got down to the bottom of it. It turned red and we dropped. Back here, we got below it, which is kind of similar to where we're at right now. We can't get back above it, and then it turns red and we drop lower. Back here, we got to the bottom. We went to the bottom of it. We're below it, kind of like where we're at now. But this time, you know, it turned red here, but the price actually went up. But that was technically the bottom of that one. So it's kind of strange, but it's been pretty accurate. Whenever we're above it and we stay above it, we're in bull market. Whenever we come down and dip through it, it's usually the beginning of the end. Bull market, above it, dip through it, beginning of an end. Bull market, dip to it, beginning of the end. Bull market, dip through it. So this is one of those indicators I look at on the 5-day. And yes, it checks off as possible bear market territory. EMA ribbon, possible bear market territory. Pi cycle, not bear market yet, because it's not even close to showing us that a top is in. That's strange, and that's one of the more accurate ones. Then we go to, now if you look at just the RSI and the stochastic RSI, they're both at the bottom. The blue line is crossing the orange line to the upside. We have a little double cross here. That's on the weekly, but if we go to the 2 weekly, it looks like it's just now crossing. And on the RSI, it is hitting some resistance here. Could it drop lower? Yeah. It could come down a little lower. Like here, we hit the bottom at 17K right here. And then we broke out of this downward trending resistance. And then dropped further to retest it, which is right here. We broke out and then dropped again in price. So here it's very similar because this was the previous bull market and this is the current one. We still have bearish divergence, but we're very far below. So it would be equivalent to us coming down to here, wicking below this, coming back up and breaking out of this and then retesting. So the price, as you can see here, when we were at the lowest below this line, was not the lowest in the actual price. The lowest in the actual price was 15.5, but this came up before that happened. So this doesn't correlate with the price so much as, so my point is that the price could go down or even up while this goes down. Because as you can see, we've been at what's called bearish divergence for a while, where the price was going up, 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 but the RSI was going down, down, down. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the stochastic RSI. We have a cross happening. Usually when that happens, it's a pump to the upside. Usually when that happens, it's a pump to the upside. Usually when that happens, it's a pump to the upside. Look at this one though. We had a cross and we did pump, but not all the way back up. That was the beginning of the bear market back in 2021. And as you can see, all it did was come back up to the bottom of this grayed out area before going down further. But then, but we're already way down here. So this cross right here brought us up to here, but the price did go down a little further. So this crossing could bring us up on the RSI, and we could have one more wick down. I would say maybe to this level, which was previous resistance at 74.5 and or 73.8. And then right here, we touched down at 74.5. So we could wick down there as we come up to this line and then go into the next bull market here. And that could be the bottom. It could be different this time for sure. Yeah, Billy says, I wonder if the market makers want to bring it down to then jump in big, wipe out confidence within the retail market, then scoop it up just in time for total green light regulatory environment. Yep, that's market manipulation at its finest for sure. Shake out the weak hands, get all the people out, you know, to think that, oh, it's going down. I'm going to get out now before I lose more money. Oh, I got to stop the bleeding. That's usually how retail thinks. Otherwise known as the dumb money. And don't take it personally, guys. It doesn't mean anybody's dumb. It just means that if you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, then you're kind of ignorant, right? You don't really know what the big players are doing. And they could be doing this strictly for the purpose of controlling the market. And now that they have a green light and now that they know where things are heading, you know, they suppress the market, they keep it down before so that they can get all their ducks in an order and get all of their financial institutions in place before they then buy in at the lower price, liquidating everyone else and getting everyone else out of the situation. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, it is. And we're all dumb money at some point until you start to learn, okay, instead of getting, wiped out by the whales and the market makers, just learn what they're doing so that you can follow along. Yeah, Bill says a few of the smaller market makers are probably still recovering from the October 10th shock. There were definitely people that got liquidated, big players, whales who had, millions of dollars in trades. They got liquidated on that. So just because they got a lot of money doesn't mean they know what they're doing, or it doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. It just means that they just weren't prepared for what can happen. We've seen it happen several times over the last year. Big plays, big moves. I mean, big losses from whales going long or going short with, $50 million with leverage.
Is the Clarity Act going to slow down the market makers?
Say that one more time.
Is the Clarity Act going to slow down the market makers from what they're able to manipulate?
I'm sure that the market makers are in on the Clarity Act and they know what's about to happen. So I don't know if it'll slow them down or if they'll just be prepared by then, or they'll make their moves before then.
Like a 10-10 couldn't happen again after the Clarity Act.
Oh, I can't say that. That would be crystal ball. I think anything can happen. We could go into a recession, a depression, stagflation. We could have an economic meltdown. We could have a dollar crash. There's a lot of things that can happen before things get better, but I'm not so sure that the government or Trump or anybody's going to allow that to happen, because with the reverse carry trade in Japan and maybe switching over to, let's just say, XRP, just for lack of a better crypto, to use it as an example, because there is no better crypto that would save the day. If Ripple gets taken over by the government, let's just say, because it is the only one that can solve the crisis with global settlement and have enough liquidity to stabilize the dollar, then nothing will happen. Everything will just go on as normal, and no one will even know what's happening behind the scenes. But XRP's value will shoot through the moon. Which is usually the case. When Bitcoin was pumping from $1.80 up to $36, from $36 up to $215, 99% of the population on planet Earth wasn't paying attention to any of that. Only a handful of people made hundreds of millions of dollars. We can look at it right here, actually, on this chart, right here, when Bitcoin was $1.80, same price as XRP right now. Shot up to $15, then up to $268, then up to $1,118 in the span of is that 763 days, but it shot up from $1.80 to, what is that? $7.50 in 3 months, and then up to $15.64 in 290 days, and a little over a year, basically a year and a half, to $281. So That would kind of be equivalent us to hitting $250 an XRP sometime by October, or sometime this year, this coming year, or the end of 2026, somewhere in that range. It's all possible if all of these things happen, if all of these catalysts take place. And the ironic thing is that it's like, oh yeah, well all the stars have to align for that to happen and all that stuff. But the problem is, and what people aren't understanding, is that all of those planets have aligned. They are already in the works. It's not like, oh, well, that's only if Ripple gets accepted by banks. That's only if Ripple has these contracts. No, they already do have all that in place. Right, Matt? No, for sure. John asked, my Optio rewards in Kaivo have 7 days of rewards in pending status. Is that normal? How long ago did you first start buying, John? Are you in your first week or two? If so, it's normal. Yeah, it's normal. It'll catch up. Do you have any not pending? Any that were active? Okay, yeah. So all of a sudden, what will happen anytime now is that we'll also go into your simple server and make sure that all of your nodes are online and active. You might have 20 licenses, but maybe they're not active. They need to be active. So make sure they're active. And as long as they're active, then it will start, the pending will start to go away. So if I go into Kaivo and show you, yeah, Kaivo. Yeah, I always have some pending, but back here, if I go back here to the beginning, December 1st, all the way to here, they were all pending. And then all of a sudden distributed, but there was always some pending at the top. Now it's just 3 days behind. Yes, William, the price will go up. Donnie says 1250 on notes starting tomorrow. I know the price does change. I'm not sure if it's 1250 or 1500, Mesto. I think it's 1250 from what I saw, but I don't even remember where I saw it. Is that a question, Donnie? Buy now or buy later? You always have a choice. So we could very well be at the bottom, and by the way, guys, if you look at it, if we go to like the daily time frame and we just look at what's been happening over the past couple months, we've had a nice big pullback from the top. 126 up here. We've pulled back 40% or so. 36%. The problem with that is that historically, bear markets have pulled back 77%. The last one was 77%. The one before that, %. One before that. %86. One before that. 94%. So historically, we pull back a lot more in a bear market. So what would make this one not do that is that the bull and bear market cycles are kind of coming to an end and things are starting to get stabilized. Bitcoin's not going to have the huge price fluctuations. And why would that be the case? I like to do a little reverse engineering here, is that historically, it's obvious, you can see it on the charts, that back here we had, 1000x pumps to the upside in this bull market. And then we had a 100x pump to the upside in this bull market. And then we had a 25x pump in this bull market. And then we had a 15x pump in this market. And this one, you only had a 7x. So each bull market cycle is getting less and less and less. And so, and the bottom, by the way, every time we pull back, at least since 2018, this line has been the bottom. So if we do go down to the line, right now we are at 30 some percent. If we go down to the line, that's a 46% pullback. Totally doable. That would bring us right around the 68, I would say 70K zone. And that's probably when all of these other things would, everything I was just talking about would flip back over and start to come back up. Let me share my other screen, go to Phemex. Lots of volatility on both Bitcoin and XRP, but ultimately they're both still in the overall downward trending. Well, Bitcoin kind of broke out of the downward trending channel. XRP still in it, still kind of in the middle of it, but it was trending up here. Depending on where I put this line. And it did just break below this little upward trending support line. But it did break out of this downward trending resistance. But it's still inside the overall downward trending channel. So until we get above this line over here, this white line, which should be probably at the very minimum over here at $1.80, $1.90, we're still kind of downward trending on everything. But this right here at the $1.76 line has historically been the floor. So when I say historically, I just mean going back a year. So if we look at the year right here, $1.76, that's kind of the low. Except for this October 10th, when we whipped all the way down to $1.25, but we immediately got bought back up. Billions came back in and put us back into this channel. Now, one thing is notable is that the amount of red candles here. Let me go over to Heikinashi here. Yeah, this is on Heikinashi. It's very, very interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks of red candles. we're due for a trend reversal. The RSI is definitely lower than normal. I mean, this is just a slow grind. This is, to me, this is like just market manipulation. And here's the weird thing is during this whole time, pretty much, Ripple and XRP, the infrastructure, billions and billions of inflow coming into ETFs. This is what's driving people crazy. This is what's making people think, what's going on here? Why is all this good stuff happening? And the price just keeps going down. And guys, this is what causes people to get discouraged, causes people to disbelieve, causes people to get out, causes people to say, this is bullshit. I've had enough of this. I've been holding XRP for 8 years and it's just nothing's happening. Boom, they sell. They finally get out. Or they watch one video that says nothing's happening. It's never going anywhere. You guys are suckers. You XRP army people are suckers. And then they get out. And then that's when XRP shoots to $20, $30. That's what's going to happen, I'm afraid, for some people. Not me, because I'm not selling XRP. I'm only buying. And the lower it goes, the more I will buy, because I know what's happening behind the scenes. I see the infrastructure, the billions of dollars pouring in, the ETFs. BlackRock's about to announce a XRP ETF. And if you just look at Bitcoin for an example, let's just go back to Bitcoin one more time. Let's just look at when the Bitcoin ETFs came into play. Right here. When Bitcoin popped up to 73.8 and finally got higher than the previous all-time high. This was the all-time high back in 2021. As soon as we popped above it, right here, the Bitcoin ETFs were announced. 13 of the largest hedge funds in the world launched Bitcoin ETFs. They finally got approval from the SEC, and boom, look at the price. All the way down to 56K. Bounced all the way up to 71. Lower high. Came all the way down to 53. Bounced up to 68. A lower high and lower low. And then dropped all the way down to 48K before finally breaking out. 280 days, 7 months of consolidation and downward trending. And then it finally pumped all the way up to 108K with no red candles at all on the weekly. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks of green candles in a row. Right about the same amount of candles we have. Well, no, actually, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 red candles right now coming down to this line. Point is that just because ETFs are launching, billions poured into Bitcoin ETFs here. Billions were pouring in. Why wasn't the price going up? People were wondering back then, why? How is it possible that they're buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin, but the price isn't going up? And it's because the 13 hedge funds that were buying the billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin were not buying it on the open market. They were buying it from Grayscale. Grayscale already accumulated all the Bitcoin here. Sold it to, now once Grayscale ran out, they had to buy on the open market, billions more inflowed, boom. Same thing happening here with XRP. Billions are flowing in, the price is going down. People are wondering what the hell's going on. Why is this possible? How is this possible? It's because they're not buying their XRP from the retail market. They're buying it OTC, over the counter, from behind closed doors, deals with Ripple, because they have a separate ledger for that. And the ledgers will merge. Their ledger will run out. Bill, I think, has, I don't know what the last number was of how much XRP is available on the open market compared to on the OTC market.
60
But-
billion to about 40 billion, 60 billion on the open market. Recently, I think the ETFs have swallowed up nearly 2 billion.
Yeah, and I think 1%. So 1% of the entire supply of XRP is in ETFs. So you said 60 billion in retail or 60 billion in OTC?
Retail, 60
Retail.
billion is
And-
available to everybody right now.
Yeah, and 30 billion in OTC. Or
Yes,
in,
locked up behind. That's held by the institution, by Ripple.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of time, guys. It's just a matter of time. And then there's not going to be anything left except for retail. And then when that reserve goes down, there's not going to be anything left. I mean, basically it's going to be tied up and be used for what it's being used for. It's not going to be like Bitcoin, where it's a store of wealth, where it's a hedge against inflation, where it's just, as a reserve for rich people to put their money in. It's basically going to be locked up and being used for worldwide settlement. The value is going to have to adjust according to the demand of that. So this is just a patience game. You just got to be patient and keep it. You're lucky that you can still buy it under $2. But at $2, guys, at $3, anything under $3 to me is ridiculous compared to where it's going to go, in my opinion. $1.83. I mean, it could wedge into this where this line is. It could go, we could have another red candle down to 178 or so. Maybe even down to this one, which is the $1.60, which it did hit here once. Possible. Before it bounced. I mean, look at this. Red, wicked all the way down to $1.60 before climbing out. I'm reading some of the questions and they don't make sense. I'm not like John, you said less and less due to XRP strength. So I'm not sure what the context of what I was saying at the time you asked that question. And you guys are welcome to come off mute if you want to ask a question.
I'll just say, Nico, look at how long silver was manipulated. I mean, I used to trade silver, and other commodities in the 90s. It was $5 all day long for forever. And I followed this guy at Morgan Report for the last 15 years, along with Mike Maloney. He's Robert Kiyosaki's money guy for a long time, gold and silver bugs. And, just manipulation in silver markets with, JP Morgan and other ones that have gotten fined over the years. It's nothing new with. They're going to do it for that. They'll do it for this too.
Yep. And a lot of people are buying silver right now at the highest price ever, guys, and that's not necessarily the time to buy. Can silver go to $100? There's going to be a problem if silver goes to $100 for a lot of the financial markets out there. They're hoarding silver right now, but I'm not saying it can't, but I think we're near the top of silver right now, and there'll probably be a pullback, just like there always is whenever there's a big pump. Gold pumped up to $4,800 an ounce. What is it right now? But don't judge XRP's price by just by the price. I mean, don't judge XRP by the price. I mean, you got $4 billion in transactions. It's proof of real adoption driven happening right now. So, if you think XRP dropping to $2 or less is the end, you're not ready. It's the beginning, basically. The pullback is what creates the millionaires here, guys.
Gold is now at 44.20.
So gold has come down about $500 per ounce since it hit its top. So what percentage is that from the top? So I think it was at 49 or something, or did it actually hit 5K? I don't remember. I think it was like 49 something. So it's pulled back 10%. That would be, I guess, like like silver pulling back to 60 some dollars. What is it? What is silver right now? 70, 74, 75? I haven't been watching. I haven't been looking. I know I have some of it, but I don't really buy it to make money on it. I mean, if you have some, you should not sell it. But at the same time, buying it at the top, even if it did go up to $100, you'd have to buy a lot of it. It's not convenient also, depending on how you're buying it. I mean, if you're buying bags of silver, if you're going to your numismatic coin dealer up the road and you're buying bags of silver coins, or you're buying bars or bullion or any of that stuff, it's great. It's great to have. Especially if the price never comes back down. But it's not convenient. You can't just click a button and sell it. You got to literally take it somewhere in a briefcase on a roller if you can't lift it. That's what's cool about the digital gold and the digital silver and the digital dollars. You can liquidate it quickly. Just like real estate. I love real estate, but if I want to sell an investment property, there's a lot involved. It's a huge process. We got closing, we got title companies, we got insurance to deal with, we got human beings that have to go out and inspect the property. We got sellers and offers and, renegotiations, and it's a pain in the ass. We got tenants, toilets.
Escrow.
What's that?
Escrow.
I mean, it's real. You can touch it and feel it. That's the good part. And it does appreciate, and it does hold its value, and it spits off cash flow. I like all those things, but you don't just, even if you own your house free and clear, if you want money, if you want your equity out, there's a big, long process involved. Whereas if you just have Bitcoin or XRP or something like that, and you need money, it's a click of a button.
Nico?
Yes.
My friend has a bunch of silver, like physical silver, like tons of it. And I was telling them that they probably could somehow borrow from it. Is that something that can be done, like DTC? Like if you have a ton of it, you could borrow from your assets.
Physical silver, yeah, probably at a pawn shop or some kind of coin dealer or something like that. I don't know who else. I mean, they would want to hold it as collateral, I'm sure. Like a car, for instance, if you own your car free and clear, you can get a title loan. So you would have to give your real title over to the person loaning you the money. Right? But if you have something of value that you want to borrow against, and it's a physical object, the person loaning you would probably want to hold that as collateral. If you need money and you want to hawk your gold necklace or your diamond ring, you would have to take it somewhere, and they would hold that until you paid them back. Otherwise, they would have no way to collect from you if you didn't pay, right? So with physical silver and gold, there are people that do it. We got a place here in my area in Bel Air called Bel Air Coins. It's at the Silver Queen. These guys have been in business forever. They got millions and millions of dollars. You just walk in their showroom, they got gold bars that are the size of like watermelon sitting on their counter. You can't, they leave it right there on the counter for you to touch it because they know no one can pick it up while they're open. Silver bars lined up in the cabinets, gold coins everywhere. And these guys are wearing, the jewelers that wear the loops and they look at diamonds and stuff. Their loops are made out of 24 karat. Their necklaces that are holding their loops are 24 karat. The loop itself is 24 karat with diamonds and rubies in it. These guys are rolling in money, but all they do is buy and sell and deal in rare metals and jewelry and stuff like that. Or gold coins or gold bars or silver bars and things like that. But they will, those kind of places will, I don't know if they'll loan against it, but I know they will borrow, they will definitely buy it from you for whatever the spot price is. They might, there are pawn shops that will loan, but they were not going to loan you much. They'll loan like 30%, I think.
Thank you.
Yep. I have a good friend from high school who started a pawn shop right after high school. Him and his brother, his twin brother, and these guys have made millions over the years, and they still sit in their pawn shop all day, every day for the last 40 years, as long as I can remember. But they both have houses on the water with boats in the backyard and nice cars, and they've done quite well over the years, loaning people money against stuff that people never came back to get.
Inigo, I used to use this company out of Mass. They changed the name. It used to be Silver Savers for funny as it is, but it's Onex. And you can buy as little as you want. You can dollar cost average. You can even buy like with gold, they break it down into grains. So you can literally buy grains and $25 a week. But they let you hold it on their site. It's like pittance. I mean, considering places that, charge you vault fees and things over the years I looked into. And you can take possession of it if you want, or you can just hold it on their site. Gold, silver, and a couple other things. But what I was also going to say is with all this crypto electricity, with Trump's basically calling for the Department of Energy to do everything they can to build out our infrastructure. Obviously, they're still pushing electric cars and everything else, overriding the system. But people don't realize that they're always looking at AI, but the electric companies are, 900% in the last couple of years, 3,000% for, I think it's Oklo. Their stock prices have just gone through the roof. And the more use of crypto, we're going to need infrastructure just for electricity alone. Never mind everything else. But there's silver and everything. That the electric cars and all these other things we're using, even just basic manufacturing needs, well, odds and ends around the house. So if with the price of silver increasing, it's got to make the cost of living, just buying household things, more expensive too.
Yeah, that's why there's probably this big rush to solve the financial crisis that most people don't even realize we're in. With the Clarity Act and all the things happening and switching over to digital currency for liquidity, the Japanese reverse carry trade coming due, billions of dollars, hundreds of millions or hundreds of billions probably that need to be, repaid. And, I think Trump's plan is to pay off the debt with Bitcoin and switch over to digital currency. I don't really know exactly how they're going to do all this, but it's asset classes like Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum and things like that are going to, gold and silver, that are going to win out in these situations. I don't think the dollar is going to crash. I think that they're going to save the dollar by backing it against some type of digital currency that's, whether it's a stable coin, whether it's a Ripple stable coin or something else. But I think no matter what it is, I think it's all going to operate on the Ripple mainnet, the Ripple network, because it is the only one that can handle all that transactions. Bitcoin, all these things that people say, oh, well, Bitcoin is not going to be used for anything because Bitcoin is too slow. The Bitcoin blockchain is too slow. It is. It takes 30 minutes for Bitcoin to transact. Send Bitcoin to somebody, it takes 30 minutes. You want to pay for your soda pop at 7-Eleven with Bitcoin? You'd be sitting there for 20 minutes before the cashier got the Bitcoin. But on the Ripple network, you can send someone Bitcoin and it'll clear instantly. Isn't that kind of interesting? Ripple can settle Bitcoin transactions very quickly. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, well, XRP is not going to be used for everything. You're right, it's not, but everything else that they're not going to use XRP for still has to operate on the Ripple network if they're going to go into the digital world, because Solana, all of these other ones that XLM, they all still would require that that settlement. Even Ethereum, there's people on here, maybe Chad or somebody else who knows more about the Ethereum mainnet, but Ethereum is probably the only next runner up as far as the Ethereum mainnet. But even them, it seems so confusing, and it seems so, I don't really see any excitement or anything around Ethereum other than, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of technologies and a lot of companies that are switching over to the Ethereum network for settlement, things like that. But Ethereum's had a lot of problems over the years with gas fees and all kinds of other problems. But even Vitalik, what is the guy's name? The founder of Ethereum, even he says
Vitalin
XRP.
butyric, I think.
Yeah, even he said, and I think I played you guys the video, even he said that XRP is the future of money. He didn't say Ethereum. Someone said something about, let's see, Jake Claver. Jake Claver announced XRP will be $100 by December 31st. He doesn't seem concerned with his credibility. Yeah, he bet that it would be $750 by the end of the year. He had a bet with someone. Obviously, he's wrong about that. But I think also that was before the government crashed, and they were expecting the Clarity Act to pass this year, and that got pushed back. So I think he's also coming to terms with all that. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of information about these guys and their claims and stuff. I think that XRP could go to $7, $8, $10, $15, $20. Obviously it has to do that before it can ever hit 100 or 200 or 1,000. So I would say that instead of thinking it's just going to shoot to $100, let's just see it break out to a new all-time high first. Let's worry about that first. And then I think once it gets above the $4, $5, $6 range, then it probably won't be coming back. But there's a lot that's still being put in place. Clarity Act, when is that announcement? That's sometime in January, isn't it? That's the next couple of weeks. And it looks like that they got full support of January 15th. I'm pretty sure that's going to pass. By the way, Amazon just partnered with Ripple and XRP. So that's big. That's big. Amazon Web Services officially list Ripple as a verified partner, confirming RippleNet's enterprise-grade integration for real-time payments, liquidity, and cross-border settlements on the AWS infrastructure. AWS partner profile, Ripple. RippleNet is a decentralized global network of banks and payment providers using Ripple's distributed financial technology, which provides real-time messaging, clearing, and settlement of financial. By the way, some of these other ones like Solana and XLM and stuff like that, they might provide real-time messaging, but Ripple and XRP are the only ones that also provide the clearing and settlement of financial transactions. So even the cryptos that will be used for messaging will still have to operate on the Ripple network to settle for settlement. So I don't even care what other cryptos some of these big companies or governments use. They still would probably be relying on the Ripple's settlement network. But this is all very positive, guys. I mean, you got some of the biggest companies in the world all joining forces there, and billions are pouring in. So it's not even, to me, it's not a question of if, it's just when. And I think Bitcoin will continue to be what it is and what it has been. It'll be a store of wealth. I think that it will grind its way up to 500,000, $1 million, $10 million eventually someday. Especially if the government and Trump does what they say it's going to do. They promise to buy 1 million Bitcoins over the next 5 years, which is at the current value around $100 billion worth as a reserve, a Bitcoin reserve. BA King, if you missed any portion of this, you can watch the replay. It's not really fair for me to repeat everything that we talked about because we have 100 people on here that would have to re-listen to everything. So if you don't mind. But I will not, I think yesterday I made, or Monday rather, I had everything set up on the Facebook group to post the replay, and I did it like hours later. So I apologize. This time I will do it immediately after the call as soon as it's uploaded. People need to be patient. Everyone expects this stuff to happen overnight. That's true, guys. I mean, it's taken 10 years to get to where we are. And this is still technically new technology with less than 1% of the entire human population even understanding how any of it works. Once we get to 5% of the entire investing world, which are people that have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, commodities, gold, silver, and all this stuff, 5% of those people are now invested in Bitcoin, XRP, and things like that. You're going to see a $20 trillion market cap on Bitcoin, equal to gold. I don't even, what is gold's market cap right now? It was 20 trillion. Now it's probably a little more, but for XRP to get to $100 or $1,000, you're looking at, a market cap in the hundreds of trillions. Is that possible? Yeah, it is. I mean, we have companies on the New York Stock Exchange that have $1 trillion market caps right now. But 10 years ago, if you would have said that there would be a company with $1 trillion market cap, people would have laughed. No one would have ever believed that it would be a human being whose net worth is $1 trillion. But Elon Musk will do it probably this year coming up. He will be the first trillionaire. $30 trillion for Bitcoin or for gold. Which one?
Gold.
Gold, yeah. So gold's market cap has gone up $10 trillion just in the last year and a half, 2 years. Because it went from what, $2,000 an ounce up to $2,500 an ounce up to $5,000 almost. So let's go look and see what else is not correlating with Bitcoin or any of these things. The market is just kind of in a slow grind down for now, but let's just go up here. What you do is you go up in Phemex, you click right here, and then make sure it's on USDTM and just scroll down and look at these. Everything's just red, 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 red. But look at this one, River USD up 83%. Let's look at that. Why is that one pumping like crazy when everything else is going down? Relatively new token. Look at this. What's going on here? Looks like it's just kind of getting up to this level, this previous resistance level. Just broke through that. I don't know what it is or what it's about, but that's how you can find things that are just not correlating with Bitcoin and everything else. They kind of have their own thing going on. I don't know anything about this token, but we had a nice big W pattern. And then it broke. Is it too late to get in? probably. It's already broke to exactly the depth of the W, which was previous support, support, and resistance and resistance. Probably going to pull back soon. Is it going to stay above this line? I don't know. Let's look for more. Let's see what else we got going on here. Look at this one. Oh, that's the same one. Cyber temperate. Look at this. Light, 134%. What's going on here? That's bullish. That's a big ass bull flag here on the 1 hour. From 44 cents to $1.40. Is it going to break to the upside? Let's just look. Every time, well, this was the last time we had a big pump up, it fell further down. Look at this one. What is going on with this one? And we did look at this before, obviously back here, I was charting this, but why? We have kind of a downward trending support here. And we might have just hit the downward trending resistance here. This is the time we broke out of it. Came all the way up to $4.60. Holy cow. And then very quickly dumped on everyone right back down into the channel. So it is possible. You might want to look at this. This is light USDT on the hourly. If we break this white line here, it did wick right up to it and it's consolidating. So it is possible that we have another big breakout like this one, but that's the only time that's happened before. A little risky. You see right here on the RSI, when it did get up, way up to this level, was right here when it broke out. And then it stayed, the RSI stayed up here while it was pumping. That's kind of where we're at right now. It's right up to this level. It's at the top of the RSI. Me personally, I'm not playing with it, but you guys are welcome to look at those kinds of things. There's a few of them pumping. Unfortunately, if you weren't in on it before the pumps usually dump. Res up 17%. Loon C. What is this? Q. So, like I showed you guys here in the Discord, this is Bitcoin just over the past, month or so. Every time we've pumped up, we've come back down. Pumped up, came 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 back down. And this has just been going on and on and on. And this is very similar to something like this. Pump, back down, pump, back down, pump. Probably get a good short right here. In fact, let me just do it with a little bit of money just to show you. We're going to take a trade here. Across, isolated, 10x, short. Got a very close liquidation on this one. This is one of those. We're overextended here on the RSI. The stochastic RSI is at the top. This is a big pump. Every time we've done that, it's fallen back down. Does that mean it's going to do it again? No, but those are the odds. Go back. Let's look at something else. does, that would be a 473% gain. EPT up 22%. I mean, those are big percentage, guys. Compared to what everything else is doing in the market right now, it's kind of fizzling. Some of these things are pumping pretty high. There's something going on about them. UAI. So that's one way to find some stuff. Oh yeah. Lots of green. Reverse doji candlestick. Generally, that is a undecisive candle pattern or possibly a trend reversal. Blue line crossing the orange line to the downside on the stochastic RSI, and the regular RSI hitting the top way up here in the 90s. And usually when that happens up here at this level, it's dumping back down. $5 on that one, 8% already on that short. Any other questions while we're sitting here?
Hey, Nico, I've got a Phemex question, actually. So I'm in a bit of a conundrum because I lost my phone and the Google Authenticator, I don't have the backup for it. So I have to reset it. So I reached out to Phemex. However, they're asking me for like my ID, my video, they want a KYC, but when I got started, there was no need for KYC. So they got no information on me at all, except for my email. And obviously I'm in the US. Now I do have my Estonian passport, but I wasn't going to use that. So I sent you a DM. What do you think? What's the best way to handle this? Do you think? Because I really need to get back access to my Phemex account.
Yeah, let me thanks for reminding me. Let me
I have an idea.
message her right now.
What's that?
My suggestion would be, go ahead and KYC so you can get access to your funds, and then you can always open another account with the Crypto Renegades link to get one with non KYC, and then just transfer your funds from your KYC to your non KYC.
That's an awesome idea. Thank you.
Welcome.
But my concern was, Nico, is that because I'm in the US, are they going to not let me get access to my account because
No, I mean they gave us all. I mean, most everybody in here is in the US.
Okay, all right.
But I'm KYC.
I just want to make sure I'm doing it right. That's all.
Yeah. What text me, send me your UID number, Marcus. You sent me your email. Oh wait.
I sent you my email. I don't know what the UID number is because I can't get in.
Oh shit. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, and the big lesson is when you do a Google Authenticator, make sure you write down the backup code. so you don't have to go through this hassle.
Or put it on an extra device as well, because you can have it on multiple devices and it will give you the same code.
Oh, that's a good idea. Excellent. Thank you. Yes.
Back up all your info on paper. Paper notebook somewhere.
Oh, I do. I do have a paper notebook. I've got all that stuff. All my passwords are written in there because I don't trust any of that stuff online.
The problem is you can't back up a Google Authenticator on paper because it generates a code every minute or so.
Right. Correct.
Unless they have a way, like a seed
no,
phrase
wait,
or something like that, to be able to reactivate your account,
There
or
is.
not necessarily account, but it may not update the current link for that platform or whatever service you're using. I know I had to do that a while back, unlocking some crypto from Binance from back in the day, and I had to go find my old, like 3 phones ago, to go grab that crypto, that Google Authenticator to get my crypto out.
Yeah, no, it was the first time because if they've unfortunately they forced you to do it. So I never set it up before. So I didn't realize that I needed to set up a backup code to get access to it. So lesson learned.
All right, I messaged our affiliate, our concierge over there, so we'll see what she does.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So should I just wait? So don't go send the information in to reset it. Let's just wait for what she says.
Yeah, I gave her your email and everything. I'll see what she does first,
Awesome.
and I'll let you
Thank
know
you,
what
brother.
her response is and what you need to do.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
I want to go in and buy more XRP.
All right.
The cool thing was is for my it's my girlfriend's granddaughter, so it's like my granddaughter. And I actually gave for her birthday last year. I gave her $100 worth of Bitcoin and $50 worth of XRP, and the XRP is already tripled, quadrupled. So it's
Nice.
fun to be able to do those kinds of things, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Better than those stupid bonds. Remember when as a kid, friends would give you like a $200 bond and you had to wait like 30 years before it would actually get to that $200.
My situation a little different. I told my girlfriend to buy XRP and she bought $5,000 worth when it was like $2.60. So now she's down and she
Right.
doesn't understand. Oh, I lost money. I'm like, no, you didn't. Just hold
Right.
it. Just relax.
Exactly. Yeah.
Buy some more.
Exactly.
But when people don't understand that, they just see the value of what they bought go down. They get all panicked.
Yep. No, I know. I got friends that I've been telling them get into Bitcoin for ages, and he got into it. He's like, yeah, it went down 3% or whatever it was, like $100, $200. I sold it in 3 days. I'm like, you're an idiot. Because like 3 months later, he's like, man, I should have held on to it because at that point, Bitcoin had already doubled in value. So I'm like, I told you so.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? We got the basics call coming up today at 2 p.m. So those of you who are new, relatively new, make sure you get on the basics call at 2 p.m. We are, this is it. This is the last day of the year, and I think that we're going to see over the coming days, maybe even week or two, and leading up to the Clarity Act, and of course the decision on the Clarity Act, which I believe is the 15th of January, the real fallout here, whether we're going to be a super cycle new pump to new highs, or we're going to just continue to dwindle slowly until a bottom is in. But it's kind of hard. It's still hard to tell at this stage because of everything that we just talked about. And so there's too many variables and there's too many contradicting indicators. And even if I go back right now, which I will do, and show you guys right before we wrap it up here, I'm gonna go back over here to this chart, and I'm gonna show you. You get rid of the. Let's go look at market cipher B. on the daily. I mean, we got green dots down here on the daily. We have higher lows. We got money flowing in. We got a price going up from its low here. Technically speaking, we got a little bit of a, maybe a little wedge happening. We do have some resistance here. Let me take that all the way back to here. We had resistance, support, 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 resistance, resistance, support. Support, breakthrough, resistance, 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 upward trending, support. So it's kind of the wedge we're in. We're going to come back up here and break out to the upside. Are we going to fall through? It's trying to get back up. So no signals yet on this call, guys, because it's just too undecisive. It's almost better to sit on your hands and wait for either a bottom indicator or a breakout to the upside, because in the meantime, we can look at this on the daily and we say, okay, well, we did break out of this downward trending falling wedge. I mean, we did kind of break out of it. Depending on where you put this. We had support, support, resistance, 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 breakout, but we didn't really go anywhere when we broke out. We kind of just hit it, resistance, retested, broke out, and retested this upward trending support. And we are on the top side of it. I mean, this is all the way from the top at 126 of Bitcoin. We did kind of break out there. And even if I move this and put it at the top of all the wicks, which wouldn't necessarily make sense because it's only 2 wicks that touched it, none of these other ones, then we're still in this upward trending wedge and we're still waiting for a breakout. But I would say that touching all of these points here makes more sense. This one, this one, this one, this one. And we got green here, money flowing in. That's the daily. Let's look at the hourly. On the hourly, we had money flowing out, which was this big drop, bouncing on this upward trending support line, green coming in, and it looks like this wave right here that's coming down is like this wave right here. It's starting to curve. It's starting to curve right now, possibly on the same line, this line. We go down to a lower time frame, the 10-minute. On the 10-minute, we have green. We have money flowing back in. We are just now hitting the 0 line right here. And as you can see, it's starting to come up. Price is a little green on the lower time frame. It's just nothing big. Just nothing powerful. It's all weak. All weak. Weak buying pressure. Here's the weekly. Big money flow curve. Green dot right here. And it's starting to curve back around. Starting to. And we're holding the upward trending support.
Nico, you have time for a final look at the XRP as well?
Yeah.
How long until you? Because I missed this whole thing. So, when do you think you're going to post this today?
Immediately, as soon as this call's over.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, I had to do some stuff this morning.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks again, Nico, for all the hard work you guys do on in your group here.
Thank you. No, we love what we do. Let's go back and look at XRP real quick before we wrap it up. XRP is just kind of trending sideways as well. It's very similar to Bitcoin where it's dips and then pumps back up, dips and pumps back up and dips and pumps back up. It's just trending sideways. Everything is this is like the calm before the storm, guys. It's just we're coming into the final day, the final hours of the last day of the year, and we're going into a new year, and we have some huge things happening in the first couple weeks of January, mainly the Clarity Act. And I think that once that gets approved, we're going to see some movement. But in between now and then, we could just see a lot of sideways trending, like not much happening until we break out. I really don't see it going down much more. I think we are near a bottom. But even if we did go down a little bit on XRP, the bottom to me, or a lower price point to where it's at right now, would be somewhere in this, where this red line is here, which is $1.78, and the next one down $1.60, right here, $1.60, where it wicked here before finally pumping out. But for the past year, guys, going all the way back to, December of 2024, right here, 1 year ago, we've been above this floor. And we pumped all the way up to, $3.40 here, came back down to the floor. Pumped up $2.98, came down to the floor, wicked all the way down to $1.60, pumped up $2.60, came back down to the floor, pumped all the way up to $3.67, slowly came back down to the floor. And so even if we wick down to 160 again, like we did here, I don't think we're going to wick all the way down to $1.25 like we did here. I don't personally think so. It could happen. Shit, we could go to $1. I mean, is that possible? I'm just telling you that if we go to $1, you guys would be foolish to not buy up everything you can afford. I think anything under $2 is still a steal. But is it possible? Of course. Everything is, but even if we did double test this $1.25 again, but I think we're kind of at the floor right now, guys. We're holding it. We've been bouncing, for all month long on this floor right here, heading towards the downward trending resistance. I think once we hit that, probably have a breakout back to the upside, just like we did here. And then we were looking for a 1, 2, 3 pattern. 1, 2, 3. Also, there is something that I wanted to show you guys real quick. Don't forget to find it.
Does the pi cycle only work on Bitcoin or on everything?
I think it's not just Bitcoin. You can put it on other charts. It's just that Bitcoin has kind of been the tide that rises all boats. And so
Which one
when
is the one you
Bitcoin goes,
use?
I'm sorry,
Which one is the one that you use?
the one that I'm using,
Yes,
Bitcoin.
the Bitcoin Pi cycle.
Yeah. Oh, I use the pi cycle on the Bitcoin chart. I mean, you can use the pi cycle indicator on any chart, but I was on Bitcoin when I was showing it to you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any of these indicators that are available on the indicator section, you can use on any dice, any chart. All right, I can't find what I was going to share with you here. I don't know what I did with it. It was a it was a interesting pattern on XRP that has happened over and over again. Well, this is something also. It's interesting. On the monthly chart on XRP, you can see some interesting things. This is the trend ribbon. Looks like it might be curving here, but that doesn't mean it can't go up. But that could have been a top. We're coming down. So historically, we did have some drops back in 2018, 2021. But here, the difference is we got above and have held support above the highest level, whereas before we never did that. So, you know, we could be seeing another big pump to the upside here, up into the $7, $10, $12, $16 range. But before this, all of this, remember, we were XRP was in litigation with the SEC. All of that has been cleared and dismissed at this point. They have got the green light to move forward, and their projects are huge. So I don't think we're going to continue to see these repeating trends and cycles like we have in so many other things, and like Bitcoin throughout its history. I think we're getting to that point where these cycles and these repeating cycles are going to start to come to an end. I just don't know the exact date. I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately, but they cannot continue when there's mass adoption and billions flowing in and ETFs coming, a new one coming out every week with billions flowing in. It's just very difficult for the prices to remain down. Is there no trading session on Phemex indicator? D Thorne, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I was just on Phemex. Trading session on Phemex.
Yeah, Nico, on TradingView, you've got you go up to the indicators and you can pull up that trading session indicator, and you can dial in what from the New York 9:30 start to the finish. I was just wondering, is that possible to show that on on Phemex?
Anybody else answer that question? Bill, do you know?
If you right click the date scale, there's a sessions indicator.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're. Say that again, Cal. Who answered that question?
On the time scale on the bottom, there's
down
a
here?
context menu. If you right click right on the dates, like the month. No, up from there, just right there. If you right click that, then there's a session breaks. I don't know why yours doesn't show it. Let's see.
Nico's on TradingView.
Because it's on Phemex.
Oh, you're talking about on Phemex.
On Phemex,
yeah. On Phemex. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, on Phemex.
and it shows just the session breaks as a line.
It's
But in
not
trading
nearly
view,
as useful as the indicator, the
Yeah.
Right.
market maker's indicator.
Right. So
Session
I'll
breaks.
share a link to that one in 2 seconds.
And Phemex doesn't have all the indicators that TradingView does, even though it's powered by TradingView. They just don't have probably the computing power to keep all that
Yeah.
and run the market.
Yeah. So as he was just saying, just come down here onto the monthly time frame, double click, and session breaks are here.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, guys, hop on the basics call coming up with Bill. If you have basics questions, if you're new, relatively new, you've been on 1 or 2 before, feel free to get on it again. It's definitely a great call. Steve, yep, happy crypto year. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you stay safe tonight. Don't go out and do anything crazy. It's just another day. It's just another day, just another dollar. But I think a lot of crazy things are going to happen here in this new year. Unexpected from the norm, and I think it's all positive. So I think we'll take advantage of it. And looking forward to it. So let's see. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday, the New Year's Day. We are doing our normal webinar tomorrow. If you guys want to be on that, you're welcome to. We might, if you want to jump out, we might have some testimonials. We might pull some people on who want to talk about their experience in here. So send either myself or Chad a message if you would like to. That's going to be tomorrow night at, I think, 8 p.m. this time instead of 7 p.m. So I don't think anybody's going to be out partying tomorrow night, but if you're out partying tonight, enjoy yourself, have fun, be careful, and we will see you next year.
Happy New Year, Nico. Thanks. Cheers.
Thanks, you too. Yeah, Arlene, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be announced and posted in the free Facebook group as well.
Happy
All right,
New
guys.
Year
Talk
to
to you
all you
later.
guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.